Hey guys, so this is Kim, and this is going to be the official sketchbook tour. So I decided to just stick to soft talking rather than full on ASMR whispers. That's going to be a separate thing, I think, that I'm going to do, but we'll do the sketchbook tour today, and then I will go on to go ahead and do live drawing on Facebook on a public page privately for you guys at some point in time. I think probably later this month. Let me know if that's something you guys would like to see. So we'll start the tour off with where I have all my doodles in Procreate. So there's some things that I can't show you, obviously. Got maybe one or two things here that are under NDA, and and some private things that I will not be showing nobody. But yeah, everything else is fair game. I've been mostly doodling in here mostly. I just finished the 4th season of Queer Eye. I'm gonna start to make my character designs a little bit more graphic related. So, because I feel I have to be a little bit more conscious about how I use shape in character design. I think it's very important that we do that. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do more often. It's a very Jonathan thing to do. And this is a rough sort of feature of what I kind of went through, and I will be making a personal comic about it, time permitting, and about the things that have happened regarding, vulnerability, self-worth, and, when failure happens, and how I kind of got through it. So the resources that were available to me. One of the things that I really, really love about Procreate is that I can show the step-by-step process. Well, not really step-by-step process, but like a quick and sort of like dirty way that I went through my processes, because sometimes it's like the thing with me is that I feel like I do have the potential to become exponentially better with my drawings. It's just that it's either for me it's like total garbage and like complete like scattered doodles, or something that's super, super grandiose that I think I could push next level if I even really tried. So I think for me, skill involves being just consistent. If you can be consistent with your art, you can do anything, because with consistency comes improvement. I think with me, consistency is the thing that I'd want to improve on the most. So this was my Ronya piece, and one of the things I learned about was like how to show light and atmosphere in a drawing, and not just detail, because you want to block in all the important elements of your drawing more so than just, well, let me show you. If you go up here on the top left corner, there's a part of the, like, I know I'm flexing my Procreate like stuff here, but like, bear with me for a second. There's something you can do with video, and you can actually do time-lapse replay. I mean, you guys probably know about that. But when I was doing the Ronya piece, I was more so focused on like my enjoyment of drawing like feral children and wild kids of the woods, because sometimes we all feel like wild children of the woods. And so I feel like when I do my drawings, I tend to do a drawing and then I will overemphasize a line again more than once, which is fine to make it bold. And as you can see, I took versions of like the Sweet Innocent Studio Ghibli one made by Goro Miyazaki, and then the original live-action Swedish movie, which was a little more serious and had more adult situations in it. So yeah, so I block in the color after I get in the anatomy right with the drawing, and I feel a little more confident about drawing feet now and stances, which Kim was not regular about that, which was bad. So I'm glad I did that a little bit better. And I can show you how I kind of like blocked in some stuff. And the thing I think with me, and I don't want to claim that I'm ADHD or anything like that, but I really have to have something to fidget with or watch while I work on art. Because if there's nothing for me there to grasp or touch or kind of watch on TV, like just as a side thing, I can't concentrate to do work. I don't know why. It's a focus issue. Yeah, so I don't think it's severe enough that I, have to get medicated for it or anything, but it's like, it's a real problem. It's like if you sit me at a lecture and force me to listen to in-depth information, whether or not I find it interesting, it's just I'm gonna fall asleep. It's really, really strange. So I'm hoping I can gain some insight about that and what helps me in my art process, because like I said, consistency is super important. But if I'm not consistent with it, and that's a big problem with me. So, oh, you see that little bit of like fogginess that I put up there? The atmospheric perspective, I think, really bumps up art. So, yeah, and bounce light, those little things there. So, yeah, that's done with that. And we go back to gallery. We can go back to the whole thing. Now, this is really special because it's like nobody wants to hear about, oops, oh, let's delete that. There we go. Nobody really wants to hear me blather on about wedding stuff because, hashtag unrelatable. But like, I can't help but like, even though the wedding industry is an overblown, very straight sort of like oriented industry, and like until recently they've wanted to cater to like more diverse couples and stuff. It's more like, people in relationships and everything. But it's like, I can't help but like the idea of having a celebration of all your loved ones all together, and then have it catered to your aesthetic and everything be beautiful and glamorous, and then you get to dress up and stuff. It's kind of fun. It's fun. And so I made this couple, and I don't know if I want to make a story about it, because like I was hearing this NPR story about how like these two women, they fell in love because one of the women was like, I don't know, like her dad was sick, and then they were talking about how love is simple as just like being there for somebody and not asking for anything in return, even though in relationships you should ask for things. But I digress. I want to make a comic about these two. So this was more like a very, very, her teeth are still pink. Oh, that's weird. I would feel like this is like my most rudimentary sketch style. If I really wanted this to be a little bit more bumped up, just like the old previous Ronya piece, I would have spent a little bit more time on the lines. I think the lines are a little bit too sketchy here, so I would have done something about that. But, what's successful is like the shapes, the variety of shapes here, and they look super cute, so yeah. I love my stuff. Okay, so Bay Comics, etc. And none of this is, it's fine. We're all safe here, so y'all see these. I don't know if you guys I don't know if you guys find it interesting for me to make more personal comics and stuff. It's like, it feels a little bit like, but, yeah, I posted this online, and it's like, oh God, it was fun, like getting proposed to and delightful, life-changing, but then you gotta do wedding planning. This is my fiance. I love him. And then, yeah, y'all are gonna get like a ton of this. Sorry it's part of the tour. It's an important part. I would say this is 50-50. It's all like this in real life. 50-50. We'll get out here in a second. One of the comics I think I'd like to get into is, yeah. This is very about me. This is a very Kim situation. I can't believe I'm engaged. Okay, bitch, but what if he changes his mind? I'll have to sell the ring, purge everything, learn martial arts, go into the woods, never go to the mountains, never be seen or heard from again. Dancing, got no masters. Okay. It's tough, like, to be real with you guys. It's tough, being in, like, you've gone through some really bad stuff or bad relationships, and now you're in a perfectly, like, not even perfect, but like a healthy, really great relationship. You have to really purge the part of your brain that you relied on for survival when you were alone, because, and I'm gonna make a comic about this. Maybe this is the title, and this is from, I don't know where the quote is from. I'll have to double check, and you guys can call me out on this. It's from somebody. She said, and I quote, "If you want the rewards of love, you have to submit yourself to the mortifying ordeals of being known." So if you want the rewards of love, you gotta be open to realizing the people that you love are just human. They're gonna be imperfect. And it's up to you to decide if that's something that's compatible with what you want, and it's okay to ask for the things you want. So enough about that. I'm getting too deep here into that. These are my, I love these. These are one of my favorite illustrations to do. I love mermaids. I really am interested in seeing how the Little Mermaid live action is going to be, because I really, really like Hallie. I don't know how to, Hallie or Haley, but like, I really, really liked Chloe and Hallie's music since they became like the proteges of Beyonce. Like, I've listened to Down in the DMs, I listened to like their new stuff for A Wrinkle in Time, and their like Kids Are All Right, you know, so so I was all for it. Of course, you know, racists can die mad about it. So and don't get me wrong, I love the original 2D Glen Keane Glen Keane as the animator for like old white Ariel, but you know, fairy tales change. The only thing I'm concerned about is that, it'll be old school, but like if you're going to use 3D, use 3D where it works. I feel like the animators are geniuses. It's just that the executive decisions being made on these new remakes is just to cluster as much stuff into everything as possible. And I personally think, and because I'm an artist, and I believe that, you know, the more you put things just to like put things, you're overcompensating for weaknesses in design and simplicity of design. The more you add stuff everywhere, I feel like it overcrowds things. You don't let the story breathe on its own. So I feel like, you know, a lot of people that watch the new Aladdin, like little kids, or, you know, it's for kids. You know, we have to accept that, you know, we're growing up. It's not going to be the same 90s Aladdin. And Aladdin, to be honest, is Orientalist. But the other side of me that's like, you know, 8 years old who grew up on Aladdin and stuff like that, it's just, when you watch the new one, they oversaturated it with too many things, and it kind of pushed what could have been more aesthetically like simple. Sometimes less is more. This is one of my favorites. So I've been listening to some Billie Eilish. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her last name, really. And then some like old 80s Japanese city pop. And then I made these two girlfriends, and they're being cute mermaid girlfriends together. And one of the things that's interesting is about, like, I don't know if I get a little bit like timid about coloring in full-on rendered digital art, and I think this is sort of me dipping my toe into, you know, basic things like overall lighting. Like, why is her skin blue? Is it because it's the atmosphere and the shadows that are playing? Also, she's an ice mermaid, and then her girlfriend is a summer seaweed mermaid. She lives closer to the, you know, Pacific Oceans and stuff like that, and so she'll come from the Arctic Ocean to make the long journey to visit her long-distance girlfriend. So there's another story there that I'd like to explore. There's so many stories I have, and then I never work on them because so I'm glad that Patreon can kind of finally get my stuff together. So yeah, this me dipping my toes into some of these, into these wanting to color more dynamically and not be so local color with how I color things. Here's another one that I really liked. I didn't even really try to like copy reference pictures because I feel like I can be creative with that on my own. But you know, it's, you know, nothing is original, but at the same time, when I use reference, I generally check how things like these little like light ripples on the below surface of shallow water versus these up here, they cast shadows as well, and so I had to look at real photos of that. I think it would have been better if I had seen like the perspective of the, you know, the ocean floor. And there, you know, as you can guess, there's other little mermaids sort of like swimming around, and other people. So that's kind of cool. So this was supposed to be based on the Bajau, which are like the sea nomads that live in the Philippines, and they lived closer to like the south, around the archipelago area, and they actually really exist, and they make their livelihoods off of fishing, living on these little boat houses, and good thing that exists, and they make their living with that. And so I thought, like, let's make it like mystical. Let's like, maybe they coexisted with mermaids before the industrial era came around, and then you're polluting ocean and stuff. I was like, there's a complicated story that could happen there. So Yeah, no, this one, I had fiance help with me. He said, oh, it would have been better if you added like a little bit more detail in the mountains, because I was a little bit like scribbly with that. But it was like a quick mermaid sketch, so it doesn't really show up on Instagram, but you can see mermaid character. Mermaid character. She's revealing the essence of the large monster who was also once a mermaid. Or a mermaid. But then she turned into, or maybe they're giant mermaids that exist. And then they transform when they age for too long, like elves. They lived for too long, like vampires. It's mysterious. It's like, yeah, I could have worked on this one a little bit more if I hadn't. I feel like sometimes images aren't a total waste, but that they're not a full success either. And so you could do I could have done a little bit better about like the mountain, or making this figure more, this giant mermaid, like a more shadowy monster, and then maybe add in more, those in the original 2D Little Mermaid, there was those undersea volcanoes. I could have been took a little bit more time with that, but there's always the risk of overworking your image, and I feel like I was going to that point. So let's see. Ooh, I'm going to take the chance to promote this right now. So my friend has like this clothing consignment shop that she's making herself on Etsy, and I made this in exchange for like a really snazzy outfit. I made this banner for her, so her aesthetic is very like 1970s, groovy, sort of like American, like hippie sort of like, well, you'll see it when you see it. It's just really, really cool clothes that she sells though, so I wanted to incorporate that. Ew, we're gonna get self-indulgent in a second, but first, if anyone's heard of Schumlaw, aka Claire Hummel, she's one of my favorite artists, and I love her like period sort of fashion drawings, and she made like a Sailor Moon, Sailor Uranus sort of like actual sailor, like captain from the 1800s sort of like costume design. I thought that was neat, but what I wanted to kind of do was make 1800s thing with Sailor Neptune as well. And I think I need to research a little bit more, honestly, to make this really cool. But I do like her face. I'm going to keep the face. The hair got a little bit overworked, but oh well. Then it does self-indulgent because I'm designing my own wedding dress. Like, I'm not really capable of making my own wedding dress, but a girl can dream. It's just, I want to look like this because I'm cute. Okay, so let's see. There's other little things here that I'd like to share that I'm really excited about in terms of projects. And if you're looking at this and thinking, man, Isaiah, why don't you share all these on the internet? Why are they just hiding here in your iPad? Well, I don't really have an answer for that, I think. I should be more about sharing every single little thing, but it's just, if you want the rewards of being loved, you have to open yourself up to the mortifying ordeal of being known. It's like, it's hard. These are all very precious to me, and I know I can't be precious with every single drawing as an artist, but I want to show my work, but I want to make sure it's good. So I guess this is a really fun way for me to show you guys this stuff. So when I'm drawing, I have it's really touch and go, because sometimes the muscle memory kind of fails and I haven't warmed up efficiently, and so yikes, it's like I ruined my drawing, I ruined my best ideas. And so at least this way I can kind of save duplicates of my work. This is a little fairy house with like succulents growing in the backyard, and I'm thinking of making this a different character rather than just like, oh, it's me but small. And since y'all know that I have like I love dollhouses and things like that, I want to make like a little story about that. Okay, so this is fun. You guys get to be the first ones that see my sort of graphic novel potential pitch ideas from Anino, the story of a girl who is one of the only immigrant students that live in her town. And she doesn't fit in, but she's like a huge occult nerd, and one day it gets her into a situation, and she gets wrangled into this journey with another small ghost who's from the islands where she comes from. So I don't know if I want it to be in this world or like an AU world. I'm thinking about an AU world. There's ways of explaining that without and setting it up without having to go on long drawn out, and I talk a lot, but long drawn out things in a narrative. I believe you make it part of the world, it explains itself. And so it's the journey of these two together, about the ghost and her ghost girlfriend. Well, they're not girlfriends, but they're just kids. But like they're a ghost and her friend. So it's more about the both of them rather than it is about the ghost serving the girl, which I think tends to happen a lot in a lot of Western ghost stories. And this one I'm sort of working on too. So I got to work on like 5 sample comic pages, and I'm going to try to do that. But I don't know. It's just writing the outline is seriously painful for me. Writing is hard. Drawing, I can just like, just put stuff down. But like writing is, oh God, writing is, I'm sure is a thing. So yeah, these are my character designs. Maybe we get to see how, spoiler alert, oops. And so you guys get to see that first. If there's anything here that you want to see in depth, if you were part of the $5 tier, let me know, and I will show that a little and highlight that a little bit more. But I'm kind of going through this a little bit faster. Okie dokie. So these were like quick little doodles. These are families that I drew pictures of just because I can. It doesn't really take me long to do portraits. I love doing portraits. Portraits are fun. Now this is funny because like I drew all of these. These are my fiance's bandmates. He sings for the choir, and we went to Europe, and him and his choir group sang for everybody. This is George. He drew this thing. He drew this. This is his version of his self-portrait, and this is my version of him. So, yeah, it's when I have to draw portraits, like 1-minute self-portraits, it's like a shorthand way to like kind of warm up and kind of flex my muscles a little bit. Maybe this is the succulent girl that's gonna live in the little fairy house, and then she meets like a caterpillar boy, and it's like, ooh, what happens? Maybe he's from an advanced alien insect race, and she's on like and he's visiting from a different planet, and together they navigate the relationship and stuff. Those are stories. And so, ooh, this is not Atla, but like, I got my own little stories. Y'all remember I don't know if you remember the Toji and Rei stuff from 500 years ago, but I really have to stop considering Asian art styles as just Avatar light, because there's so much more than that, and I feel like it's weakening my composition. So I think this was just like a fun self-indulgent drawing, but I want to make more epic sort of drawings that harken back to that, and not just for Avatar, but well, this was like a fun thing, so instantly recognizable as Avatar fan stuff. Okay, so let me keep one thing clear. I am Zutara observant. I am not Zutara orthodox. Like, Katang it happened, we gotta accept that, listen, but I support the idea in fan world, in the fan realm, that what if Katara and Zuko got together? It's like, some of y'all are like, Kim, how could you? But listen, it's just fun. We're just having fun. This is, it's gonna be Rosiah week, not Rosiah week, Zutara week. Zutara week in a bit, and I'm just playing around with concepts. Leave me alone. So yeah, it's like, I would think this is more like Pachao or Tiboli type of dress wear. I need to be a little bit more accurate with it though, but how would that evolve? That would be interesting. So that's their Filipino AU. Let's see, what else? I got a bit better about my perspective drawing and my, landscape drawing. I think I gotta be a little bit stronger with that, way stronger. I could do way better with this stuff. 'Cause I know I can, it's just, again, consistency, and this was kind of a composite drawing, like a composite landscape sketch of when we went to Poland. There's a lot of pine trees and old buildings, post-communist kind of like design in apartments and stuff like that. A lot of graffiti and very small little rural towns and stuff. Here's another one. Ooh, this is more like indulgent. But I'm really excited about the new Dark Crystal Age of Resistance that's coming out. And it's funny thing is when these character designs came out, you could see that, it's super really cool and appealing. I really liked how the Gelflings looked, those like elf-like creatures from the main characters. But there's a thin line between looking very appealing versus looking like ElfQuest, and then everything is too big, including like not just the eyes, everything is too big. So all the facial features kind of compete for room on the face. So I wanted to do my take on that. This is Deet. She's gonna be played by Natalie Emmanuel, who played Missandei in Game of Thrones, and we're not going to go into Game of Thrones discussion right now. I want to save my energy, so we're not going to talk about that. Not today, Satan. So, also, this is not the most accurate portrait, but this should be in the Mermaid folder, but I've been watching a Pose on FX. It's about the life of the ballroom scene, which is full of like characters who are trans and queer, and I feel like it's just important to have these kind of shows because every other show is just like, they all tend to be kind of the same, and this is just a very refreshing, dynamic show, and it made me have a little, forgive Ryan Murphy a little bit. It's directed and written by trans queer women of color, and one of the favorite actresses I like their name is India Moore, and then they play Angel, who's one of my most beautiful people ever, and so I wanted to draw them as a mermaid. They were wearing like this really, really cool like necklace, and I thought I'd get that in there. But I overindulged, and then I forgot about it, and it's still sitting here. So, speaking of fashion and design, I wanted to make more stuff with steampunk, and what would steampunk look like all over the world. And among the other things I could improve, I know that I can improve with prop design as well. Like, what's with all the pouches? Are they functional? Why would she wear, they're going to get tired of that. Why would she wear goggles? Is there a way that she could, like, put them under there? Or why is her hair in the way? So there's ways to improve that. This is the Filipino version. As you can tell, I'm very proud of being Filipino. I feel like I've been disconnected from my culture a little bit, so in a way, maybe I'm trying to reclaim it. So there's that. I don't know what this thing is, though. Like, this is an actual adaptation of the sort of like rice field hat, which I think is really neat. And she has her straw basket backpack. Steampunk as a form of like rebellion, things like that. Because in the 1800s where steampunk aesthetic usually comes in, during the 1800s we were rebelling from the Spanish government, so she would be a revolutionary. That would be kind of cool. So let's go back. We're gonna go way back. And interesting thing that I had in another version of this recorded video, because I'd had to do this a couple times and I forgot to turn on the audio, is that I wanted to talk about when I draw portraits. Sometimes I have good luck with it, and sometimes I don't. Again, in order to double your chances of making good portraits of people and capturing the so-called, like, the essence of the person, you need to improve, consistency, muscle memory, and you need to kind of look at what kind of person they are to kind of catch that. It takes a lot of intuition and a little bit of talent, and then lots of, consistency, hard work, so that when you capture their essence, it's not the first Passover isn't like this. I'll show you. Isn't this does not look anything like Yuna. I'm kind of disappointed by this. Like, it has her fashion, her fabulousness, but there's something going on with the face that doesn't really match who she is compared to this. So yeah, I feel like, oh man, I gotta do this one again. We gotta do it again. This was when I watched her Forevermore video. So this is Yuna, Y-U-N-A, and she's one of my favorite musicians. I love her. She's representing We're gonna skip over that one. We're not gonna delete it, but that one's NDA. So, as some of y'all have known, I was getting into KonMari, and I've been making these little comics on Instagram. I've been making the comics here, and I think, yeah, it's just like quick little comics about my sort of journey with KonMari, because in the event that I'm going to move with my fiance soon, I want all of my possessions to be a little bit more organized so that I take care of them and they don't get lost. And books are the hardest because those are important to me, as not as almost important as my sketches. So it turned into this mountain of junk and papers into a small folder. I literally just have a small folder now, and then another small folder of just like papers. It's amazing what it did for me. It's amazing. I'm so happy. I think I can show this off. I think I can. I have this drawing that I've prepared for a certain charity, and it's going to be printed out in a zine. It's called the Dyson Mints zine. It's for like a zine, for like a little mini zine for the Princess and the Frog movie. And so I'm going to pull this up real sec for a sec. And these are pretty much just this is going to be a KonMari comic in the making, but it ended up being kind of long. So I'll put that together soon. We will not be looking at the eyeball.jpg folder. That is for my eyes only. And this was a collab done by me and Bay. So yeah, really fun thing about the Procreate app is that you can have a function with symmetry drawing. So I'll demonstrate that in a little bit, but it's more like a fun sort of like coloring book type of relaxing thing to do. Like I'll just draw with no expectation, and I can make fun little patterns and stuff just on my own. So let's see what's going on here. Whoopsie. So this is not safe. This was Pen 13 drawings, and the last folder is let's see. That was embarrassing. The last folder is mostly just sample art that came with Procreate. So we will not be going through that, but I can show you the extent of what you can do with Procreate. Like, these are not, disclaimer, these are not my artworks. So, yeah. Isn't that beautiful? Goals. Hashtag goals. This one's also really nice. They're all in different styles too, like different artists have their own way of painting. And I realized also, like looking at these, that there's more than one way to isolate selections and then color inside of them. So these people were way more patient with their art, and I want to get to that point as well. Well, that concludes the current sketchbook tour. I really don't use any other app. There is another one I do use, which is Autodesk Sketchbook, but it's more like a side application for me to use. I'm still trying to find my way around it because it's a little bit more challenging. The workflow is a little bit different. The UI is like different than what I'm used to, so I'm still on my way to kind of figuring that out. So anyway, that's all I have for now. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you'll come back for more, because I'll have way more stuff to share with you guys. Love you. Y'all take care of yourselves, and thank you for being my patrons. Bye.